Good morning, YouTube. It is 10 a.m. in the great state of Texas, and we're definitely going to need some alcohol for this project. So what we got here is a piece of wood I got in a grab bag, and this is supposed to be a pen blank. So what I ended up doing with this thing is basically cutting it down into a shape where I just cut it into cubes and put it in some resin and see what happens. But what we're doing here is getting this wax off of it. Somebody that watched the video way back told me, because I had a question like, what is this wax for? It's supposed to keep out the moisture, and it just comes off with a paint scraper. Discovered that little tip. So if you ever have that happen to you, you just got to scrape it off. So scraped it off, ended up sanding it down as well, and now we're just going to cut it into nice little cubes. Took my bandsaw outside and decided that's where we're going to cut. I think I'm going to start doing a lot more project outside, so reduces the amount of time that I have to worry about cleanup. But anyway, the point of today's project is to basically redeem ourselves from last week. If you guys saw my botched Ninja Turtle bowl, it did not go well at all. And even though we got something out of it, I wanted to do something smaller and just get a win under my belt, and then maybe go back to doing larger projects. But I used to use this mold all of the time, and you know, this used to be considered to be a large bowl for me, but now I've gotten my skill level up to where, you know, this is like a medium-sized bowl. So all I'm doing here, instead of using hot glue, I came up with this idea to just take 15-minute epoxy, mix up a good batch of it, and pour it over the epoxy blocks so that it doesn't float. Now, I was worried about a couple of pieces there, so now we're just putting down painter's tape, essentially, just to keep everything from floating up when we pour the epoxy. And that sets up in about 15 minutes, really doesn't take any kind of real effort. And now all we're doing is mixing our East Coast resin 1-to-1, going to put some red dye in it, and gonna just see if we can make a project without anything happening that's just catastrophic. And, you know, spoiler alert, something does happen that kind of, you know, grinds my gears a little bit. But got this set up, poured the epoxy in, nice, you know, color to it. No, I think we put some glitter in here. I can't even remember, to be honest with you. But 4.5 hours later in the pressure pot, relieve that pressure valve. Hear all that air coming through. And you can see the gauge going down as well. So 4.5 hours later in the pressure pot, this is what it looks like. It didn't actually come out like this. So a couple of pieces did end up floating. So all I did was take my, not my grinder, my sander, sanded down the top of it so we can put a waste block. And I'm like, okay, this is going to go pretty well. And again, I don't know what type of wood that is that I put in there. I just used it because I had it laying around the shop. So gluing this up really good. Don't be stingy with your glue. Ended up putting that waste block on there so we can attach the faceplate, because remember last time I had so many problems getting the screws out and I had problems drilling them into the epoxy. This ended up cracking, so I had to pour a bunch of hot glue on it, and I'm already getting a little nervous up to this point. So getting that onto the lathe, give it a good spin, and we started working down the material. And this part went relatively well. All we're doing is getting that superficial layer down, coming back and forth, using the larger round carbide tool, and just hoping that nothing bad happens. So there were a couple of gaps in it from what you could tell. Sorry, I'm stuttering. I've been drinking just a little bit, but it's also 11 o'clock at night, and I've been up since about 3 this morning, so a little tired as well. So this part went really easy, really smooth. It seems like every time I do one of these bowls, when I'm just doing the outside and getting the shape, this part usually goes pretty well. I usually don't have any issues with it. I start and stop the lathe, see where we're at in the progress, and this part usually doesn't make me nervous. It looks pretty good. You can see the blocks of wood, really happy. Now we're just coming back and making the mortise right in the middle. This part always goes well. At least for the most part, it goes really, really well. We usually don't have any kind of real concerns with it. And now we're just sizing up the mortise, getting it to a nice depth. We're going to stop the lathe, just got to make it a little bit bigger. And this part goes really, really smooth. Nice, good fit. Then we take it off, get the faceplate taken off. And I used to just pop off that attachment point, but now I just, you know, I left it on. I just wanted to work down the material, get everything nice and flat. So once that portion of it is done, then we can work on the actual gouging portion of the bowl project. And this went really easy. I kind of got freaked out here in a little bit. Once I remove that tailstock, I'm going to end up working down that pine board, and it's going to end up popping off and scaring the shit out of me. So here, boom, right there. Kind of pooped myself a little bit when that happened. But that comes with the territory. Got everything nice and flat and round. Did like this oblong shape to the lip of the bowl. And now we're ready to start gouging. So this part went really smooth. Not a whole lot of problems here. Gouging everything down. Love the way the material feels against the chisels. But as we get a little bit deeper, as we start working off the lip of the bowl, I can start to sense that something is going to go wrong. And I think it's just a lighting issue for the most part. My workshop is pretty illuminated, but I think I probably just need to get another light, because my assumption is when I'm, gouging this out, I'm just going at a wrong angle and I just can't see what I'm doing in there, and it just ends up messing up the rhythm of the bowl. So obviously, unlike last week's project, I didn't have to start and stop the lathe as much to tighten down the chuck. This part went relatively well. We're just gauging how far we are along, stopping it, and then this shit happens. It chipped out so bad toward the bottom. I threw some epoxy on it, but I was like, look, we got to get a victory in there. So I stopped the lathe, went really slow, worked down the material, stay calm, don't freak out. So we ended up doing that. And if you stay calm, if you don't freak out, you can actually salvage some of these projects. And I've learned that over the years. Stay calm, don't freak out. Even though I like to freak out and throw stuff, sometimes you just got to throw stuff in the shop because it just pisses you off and you just have to let out that rage. Now this part, I really almost shit myself because the lip of the bowl was a little uneven from the beginning when we were working on it. I just had to do a little bit of work to get everything nice and even, stop the lathe. That literally took 15 seconds. Did not break the lip of the bowl. Really happy. So ended up fixing that. Looks a lot better, a lot more smooth. Like the depth. I like the lip of the bowl. There's all the wood shavings everywhere. And I'm like, okay, I'm happy. Nothing flew off the lathe. We were able to fix our problem, and things are going our way. So now we get to the real fun part, is sanding. So since we're using wood, we're not going to use the micro mesh. We went from 340 all the way up to 1500, and then we're going to come back, hit it with that wood wax. We're going to use a lot of it. The wood like sops that up. You can really see the shine come through once you just get that all nice and done. And this is what it ends up looking like when you're all finished and done. And we got a victory in, and there wasn't anything catastrophic that happened. Yes, there was some chip out, which was probably my fault, but the bowl looks good. And I remember, like I was saying, this used to be a big bowl to me, but now it's like barely a medium-sized bowl. So I'm going to take the weekend. I'm actually going to a concert, so I'm probably driving home from Austin by the time you guys see this, but we'll see what next week's project's going to be, but we got a victory in, and that's what we wanted to see. So hope you guys liked it. Looks absolutely beautiful. Don't forget to subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, peace. Okay, so the project is done. So, this is our redemption bowl. It looks really cool. I love the way this dark wood looks against this red background. You saw the chip out in the middle, and we started this video with a beer. We're gonna end this video with a beer. I don't know. I think we're having a series of projects that just aren't going our way. But we got it done. Like I said, we were going to do a smaller project. It still looks good. Happy how it turned out. It looks really cool. It's just sometimes you get problems. I don't know. You get like these streaks where sometimes just shit doesn't fucking work. But man, just problems. So today is Thursday. It's 11:30 at night right now. You guys are watching this on Sunday. 2 videos actually out this week. I'm finishing up this bowl right now, and then go back on Friday and watch me build this shelf that I made for someone. But bowl looks really good. Happy how it turned out. Fixed the problems. Aesthetically pleasing. I might do another smaller one next week, but we might go back to the bigger ones. But you just want to get a win under your belt so then you can do other projects. So hope you guys liked it. Hope you got something out of it. It's 1,000 fucking degrees here in Texas still. Today's August 9th, 2023. So another bowl done. Looks better. Still problems, but we got it done. So hope you guys liked it. All right, see you guys in the next one. Peace.